Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are sharing with you our beginner's guide to Amtrak. All right, so a couple of the first things that you need to know is how and when to buy your tickets.
Yeah, that's one of the most important things is getting those tickets, and we know you want to get it for a great price. We're going to go over that right off the top. And the first thing you need to do is buy your tickets early. Plan this trip out well in advance so that you buy your tickets well ahead of time. The way Amtrak pricing works is that as the train fills, the tickets go up. So even on their website, they'll show you as you're buying the tickets what percentage of the train is filled.
Right.
It'll have a little train icon, a little green bar. It'll say 10%,
And it says percentage.
20%, 30%. As that goes up, the price also goes up. So don't think that you're going to be waiting for a last minute deal.
Scooping up a deal at the last second. You won't be.
No, there's no last minute deals on Amtrak. There are first minute deals.
That's right.
So as soon as you can buy that ticket, go ahead and buy it. So it's going to pay to plan this out. Now, with that said, if you've missed out on a cheap price, they do sometimes run sales or buy one get one free for the sleeper cars. They've even done 50% off of coach tickets from time to time.
Yes.
So you can watch for that, but you are kind of playing with fire a little bit there because we've noticed that even if you get the buy one get one free sale, by the time they do that, the price has gone up to the point where you probably still would have got the same price if you just had purchased your roomette or coach seat right when the tickets were available.
Right.
So,
if you wait till the sale is too close to your trip, then the price will have gone up and it'll basically cancel out the sale. Also, on our website, we do have a blog on getting discounts on Amtrak, and it tells you lots of different ways that you can get discounts. So make sure you guys head over groundedlifetravel.com, and we've got that on there for you.
Yeah, there's also on the blog a little section on historically when the buy one get one free sales come up, and so you can kind of gauge it, but nobody really knows when the next one is going to be, is a short answer. A couple of things you need to know about tickets and buying tickets is you cannot hop on and hop off an Amtrak train. So it's not like a hop on hop off bus. You need a ticket for everywhere you go. You can't get off one day and get on the next and do the rest of your route.
Exactly.
It's one continuous journey. So if you get off for more than the 15-minute break, then you need another ticket to get back on. So that's a question that a lot of beginners have. Now, with that said, you need to know where you're going and plan that out, because each route on Amtrak, each planned route has a name. And when you start getting on and off of different named trains, the price will really go up. So the thing you need to do is plan your route out so that you're taking as few trains and as few connections as possible, because that's going to keep the price down, keep the time lower, and make everything much better for you.
Right. And again, we did create a map of all of the routes on Amtrak, and we've color coded them and everything. And again, that is on our website, groundedlifetravel.com, and you can see that map on there. You're able to plan out your trip, because what happens oftentimes when people are trying to plan a trip is they're planning a trip to some place that isn't exactly where Amtrak is going to drop them off, and so then, or there isn't a direct route there, and so then they think, oh, well, Amtrak says they don't go there, so I guess I can't go there. No, it just means that you can't go there direct, but let's say you may have to take 2 trains to do that, or take, a particular route in order to do that. So the map is going to help you see what direction they go in, what cities, what states they go through, and it will help you plan out your trip a little bit better.
Exactly. Next thing we need to get into when planning an Amtrak trip is train types, because there's a lot of different train types, and it's easy to get confused in these. So we're going to go over what the different trains are, which one you'll be on, and what to look for in that. There's basically 4 types of trains. The first is a Viewliner. The second is a Superliner. Then there's just a train with just coaches cars. And then there's the Acela. So the Viewliner and the Superliner are the sleeper car trains, and that's what's referred to as the longer distance cross-country trains. There's a Viewliner or a Superliner. The coach trains are just for day trips. And the Acela is just in the Northeast Corridor.
Correct.
So what's the difference between the coach trains and the Acela?
Okay, so the difference between the coach trains and the Acela is that the Acela does have first class. So they have first class and business class. And the other trains in that area are mostly just the coaches, and those coaches are coaches, and some of them may have business class, some of them are just coach travel.
Yeah, and the Acela is the high speed train. So that is basically the train that runs from Boston to Washington D.C., goes through New York and all the cities in between. That's the only place you can get on the Acela.
Right.
Everywhere else, you can get the coaches trains, and then the sleeper car trains, Viewliner, Superliner, are all over the country. But the difference is the Viewliners are essentially any train that goes through New York City, and the Superliners are essentially any train that doesn't. There are limitations with what trains can go into New York City because of different restrictions that are upon them. So that is the only place you'll see the Viewliner trains. The difference between those is that the Viewliners are single level trains, only one level to the train, and the Superliners are double deckers. So Superliners are actually a little bit taller, but the Viewliners, you actually get a little more room in them because there's only
you get a little bit more
you get a little
height.
more headroom. And then because of that, the observation cars, which are double-decker cars, are only on the Superliner trains. They are not on the Viewliner trains. So you can't, like when a lot of people ask, can I pick a Viewliner or a Superliner? No, you can't pick one or the other. The train is just going to be a Superliner or a Viewliner, and that never changes.
Correct.
Yes. Yeah. So.
And then the other thing also is people want to know, I want to be on one of the newer trains. I want to be on a Viewliner 2 or a Superliner 2. That's cool. We all want to be on the newer train. However, we don't get to choose. Because even if your train has a Superliner, your whole train isn't going to be one thing or the other. The cars individually are going to be either your Superliner 1 or your Superliner 2. So if you wanted a Superliner 2 roomette, you're not necessarily going to get that because they swap those out. Even if, let's say, they've got the Superliner 1 and a Superliner 2 on the same train, going one way, they may switch those and switch the train number, the car numbers, when they get to the next stop, and then mix it all up on you.
So it just
it's a little confusing, but you don't get to choose is the bottom line.
Yeah, exactly. So let's go over the ticket types that you could get when you're getting on Amtrak, because on basically any train except the Acela, you can buy a coach class ticket. That is going to be the cheapest ticket you can buy, and it's a really good value. On most of the coach trains, you can buy a business class ticket, and then on the Acela, you can buy a first class ticket. So that's the only train that you can buy that on. And after that, you can buy sleeper cars. So sleeper cars will consist of a roomette, a bedroom, and then on the Superliners, you can get a family bedroom. And then on all trains, you can also get an accessible bedroom. So
correct.
If you want to see the differences between each type of car, like the roomette versus bedroom, we have a video on the channel that goes over every single room in depth and shows you every single one. So that's something you can check out. But basically, the Superliner roomette cars and bedroom cars and sleeper cars, but the difference between the Superliner 1 and the Superliner 2 is almost
negligible.
You can't even tell.
Negligible.
You really can't tell.
You can't.
We've been on them, and sometimes it takes us a minute to figure out which one we're in. Now, the Viewliners, you can tell a huge difference.
Huge difference. Yeah, well, first of all, the color's different.
Yeah.
You go from blue to like a burgundy-ish type color. The second big clue as to whether you're on a Viewliner 1 or Viewliner 2 is if you have a toilet in your roomette or not.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you have a commode in your roomette, then you're in a Viewliner 1. If you do not have a commode, a toilet in your roomette, then you are in a Viewliner 2.
Now, most people think the Viewliner 2 is the better way to go. So if you really want a toilet, you're going to hope for a Viewliner 1. But the Viewliner 2 is a lot newer of a car. And you'll know you're in a Viewliner 2 right when you walk on if you see wood paneling in the hallway. The Viewliner 2s are paneled in wood, and the Viewliner 1s are not. So there are some other differences between them. And something to note, if you're in a Superliner, you may think they're all the same. The big difference between the Superliner sleeper cars is that the bathrooms are bigger in the Superliner 1 than the Superliner 2.
Yes.
So if you are in a train that has both a Superliner 1 and Superliner 2, and you're in the 2 and you're going to the bathroom and you're like, this thing is so small, just walk down to the other one if it's a 1, and the bathrooms on the lower level are definitely going to be
way better.
Way better. And way
a little more spacious. The ones in the Superliner 2 are a lot more like airplane bathrooms, like practically the same size as like an airplane bathroom. So they're going to be a little bit tight. You'd have a hard time moving around too much, especially if you're trying to get ready or something in the morning in there. It's really tight as far as space and where to put things. So
So that brings me to, which ticket should you buy? So if you're trying to save money and that's your main objective, coach is a great way to go because you're going to get to the same place. You have a lot of the same train. You have a lot of the same amenities, and it's really economical most of the time just to go coach. A lot of people ask, should you upgrade to business class? And if the price is not that big of a difference, we like to upgrade to business class. But if sometimes the price for a business class upgrade can be over $100, then we definitely would not do it. Because basically what you're getting is a little more privacy, and you get some free drinks, and depending on the train, you get different perks, but there's not a lot.
Yeah, maybe you might get the quiet car on one train, but maybe not on another. There's just very few, and it's not worth more than, it's probably not worth more than about $25. If it's more than a $25 to $50 difference, it's not worth that.
Yeah, and then the same applies to the Acela for first class.
Correct.
If you upgrade to first class, you're going to get a little bit bigger seat, a little bit more room, and you're going to get a meal included.
Right.
But, you can buy a meal for $10.
Or just bring something with you.
Yeah, so if you're, I wouldn't pay $100 extra for first class Acela. And then as far as the sleeper cars go, all of the sleeper cars only sleep 2 passengers, except for the family bedroom, which is only on a Superliner. So that's a question we get a lot. I have 3 people, or I'm going by myself, or I have 5 people. Which one should we get? If you have 3 people, try to get the family bedroom.
Right.
Or
if you'll be on a route with a Superliner.
Yeah, or if you have 4 people, try to get the family bedroom for sure. But if they're kids, if it's 4 adults,
4 adults,
that's not going to work. But if you're looking at roomettes, you cannot put 3 people in a roomette.
No,
it's way you need to get two roomettes.
It's very tight.
Yeah, so the bedroom is also a good option, but a lot of people think you can put more people in there. You can't. You can only put 2 people in the bedroom.
Maybe just a small child
2 people
could sleep in the bottom bed, possibly, but
it's not designed for more than 2 people. We've actually heard some little babies in there. That is another tip if you're looking to avoid small kids. Babies, they generally do travel in the bedrooms. I've never seen one in a roomette. There's just not enough room in there for someone to have a child. So if you're traveling on a cross-country route, let's talk about some of the other amenities you might get. And one of the best ones is observation car.
Yeah, the observation car is great because everyone has access to it. A lot of times, I think coach passengers don't think that they can use it, but it's open to everyone on the train. So not just your coaches, but also sleeper car passengers. That's kind of where everybody can congregate in the middle. And it's great because what I love about it is not just can you just sit there and enjoy the view, but there's also tables in there where you can come and eat meals if you like, or you can sit there and work if you want, or you can just use it as your seat if it's not like a really full train where they're trying to rotate people through the observation car. The other thing you'll find in the observation car is also there is usually the cafe is in the observation car, and this is where you can find the secret bathroom, we call it. Most people don't use this bathroom, and we've been on various trains where you go to the observation car and you go down there and clearly no one has used the bathroom in there yet.
Yeah. No.
You're like the first person in there and you're like, how did this happen? No, a lot of people don't know that it's down there. So note that is in the observation car. You don't have to go back to either your sleeper car or back to coach to go to the bathroom. You can always go right downstairs in the observation car to go to the restroom.
A couple other things about that car, that it is open 24 hours.
Mm-hmm, yes.
So I go in there a lot at night. I'll take my computer down there, either do some work, play a game, do whatever down there. It's usually pretty quiet, and there's always a conductor walking through, checking in, seeing how you're doing.
Yep.
You can bring a snack, bring your computer, bring your tablet down there. If one of you stays up late, that's something good that you can do. So, yeah, that's something that I like to do. I love the observation car. Now, the thing is, they're only on cross-country routes, and they're only on Superliners. So they're going to be basically routes that start or end in Chicago and are heading west or south is the routes they're going to be on. The ones from New York, they do not have observation cars. So they are great, though. Probably one of my favorite features of the train. Yeah.
Absolutely. It is one of our favorite places to kind of hang out. Like if you get tired of being in your, coach seat, or if you're in a sleeper and you get tired of being in a sleeper, you can always go there and just kind of hang out, stretch your legs. And it's also a good place to just kind of walk around. If people are just sitting, or if you're going there in the late evening or the early morning, it's a great place to just kind of get some steps into, I found. All right, so next up, let's talk about what the food options are on the train.
Yeah, you got several food options depending on what train type it is and what kind of ticket type you have. So if you are in coach, you are only going to have one option. Well, two if you count bring your own food, which is definitely an option. You can bring your own food. The other option for coach passengers is the cafe car. And almost all trains will have a cafe car. Only the really, really short ones will not. As we found out when we tried to ride the Hiawatha, and it did not have one. We were planning on it, and it didn't. But it's only like, less than a couple hours train ride.
It's a short ride. And they do have food at the stations.
Anything longer than that will have a cafe car. So you go down there, and you can buy hot food, you can buy cold food, drinks, snacks, all that. It is only open certain hours of the day.
Correct.
Breakfast, lunch, dinner. Closes, depending on the train, it'll close in the evening before you go to bed. So.
And it also closes, the attendant also does take breaks throughout your train ride. So depending on when you hop on, hop off, the attendant could be on a break. But they will always let you know through the announcements when the attendant is going to go on break. They usually let you know ahead of time. So if you need to get something, you can always run over there and grab it.
A couple other things to note is that they only take cards. They don't take cash. And if you're in a sleeper car or another class, you can also go use the cafe car as well.
Right.
So you can buy food there. If you need extra food, we don't generally need to do that because generally in the sleeper car, the food is
plenty.
But if you want to, you can definitely go do that. So the next option is if you are in a sleeper car, there's two different things that may happen. You will have either flexible dining or traditional dining. And the East Coast routes, for the most part, the shorter routes, all have the flexible dining. And the West Coast routes have the traditional dining. So flexible dining is kind of what popped up a few years ago when they took the traditional dining away from everyone. And it is kind of basically somewhere between the cafe and the traditional dining. It is maybe one step above airplane food, I would say.
Maybe a couple steps.
Maybe a couple steps.
It's a little tastier.
But the food is going to be basically microwaved and
pre-prepped
food and it's microwaved.
that they heat.
But it is good. So that food is included with your sleeper car accommodations if you're on one of the East Coast trains. Now you can tell when you're booking your ticket, there's a little box that tells you about your ride, if you're going to have flexible or traditional. So check that out. But generally speaking, East Coast trains, flexible, anything leaving from Chicago and going west or going to Chicago from the west is going to have traditional. So the traditional, though, is a whole nother league. That is the kind of more like your
white tablecloth, table service, and they bring you your meal, in different increments. So you get your appetizer, you get your entree, and you get your dessert.
And it is actually cooked on the train. So you can definitely tell a taste difference, food quality difference. It is really, really quite good food. Yeah. Really love the traditional dining. So if you're trying to decide which train you want to go on and you want to have that experience, definitely pick one with traditional dining. It's a whole different menu. The food is just way better.
It is. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing, and you just get really good options for all of your entrees.
And there is no cost to that one either. It is included with your sleeper car ticket. Question we get a lot is, can you pay for this if you're in coach or something like that? And the answer is no. They're not allowing people right now to pay for a dining car meal. They used to a long time ago, and now that's not possible anymore right now. So maybe that'll come back one day, but as for now, if you're not in a sleeper car, you only have the cafe available to you.
Or, as always, you can bring your own meals. The other thing also is your beverages. If you're in the sleeper car, your beverages are also included. So that's your juices and soft drinks and all the bottled water you would like. You can get that from your attendant or at the dining car. You also get one alcoholic beverage per person per ride, so it's not per meal, and they only provide that for you at dinner time, so you can't have it with your lunch. And then as far as coach, they do have water available, so if you have your own refillable water bottle, you can bring that and fill that up on your own at those water stations. Usually they're usually near the stairs on the Superliners, but on the Viewliners, they're usually near like one of the entranceways. Just look around for it, or just ask somebody and they'll point you in the right direction.
All right, let's talk best routes, because if this is a vacation, you need to know where you want to go. And not all the routes are the same. Some are really pretty, some are not that pretty.
Some are a ride. That's it.
So if you're doing this for a vacation mentality, like this is a bucket list item, or just something you want to go see something pretty, you want to see the country, here are the top routes you should consider. And the first one is the California Zephyr.
Top of the list. This ride is, the terminus stations are, you leave from Chicago and it brings you into Emeryville, which you can hop on the bus then and head right into San Francisco.
Yeah, and so the best part of this route is going to be after Denver, between Denver and California. So don't get on this in Chicago and get off in Denver.
No.
You're going to miss the whole best part. It takes you through all the gorges and the canyons of Colorado.
Absolutely.
And that's really what you're there to see. That's the best route in America. The second best route we would probably recommend is the Empire Builder. And that's going to take you from Chicago all the way to Seattle or Portland or the other way. And it's the northern route, the northernmost route in the country, and we saw some beautiful stuff on that route, didn't we?
Absolutely gorgeous. You're going to see a lot of beautiful scenery that normally we don't see, because a lot of people don't take that route when they're driving cross country. They usually go across the middle somewhere, but that northernmost route takes you through some of the most beautiful mountain areas and through the tip of Glacier National Park. Just absolutely stunning, the scenery up there. I was actually very surprised. And I think the bonus there is if you're going to Seattle coming in or leaving, especially if you're leaving from Seattle, that view of Puget Sound is spectacular.
Beautiful. Probably the third one that people would say do for a vacation would be the Coast Starlight out on the West Coast. And that's going to take you from LA to Seattle or the other way around. And it's called the Coast Starlight because it skirts the coast. Like, I didn't realize how close we would be to the coast. And like, if you were, you're 5 feet from the water, from the ocean.
You're just right there.
Like, almost it feels like you're hanging over it. And it's just beautiful. So that is definitely one that you can do. Now, the pretty part of that one is really from San Francisco, Emeryville, Oakland area down to LA. The going north from the Bay Area up to Seattle isn't as pretty, but you do get to see Mount St. Helens and
and Mount Rainier.
Mount Rainier. So if it's a clear day, of course.
Yes.
But those are probably the top three. If you want trying to do this for a bucket list trip, pick one of those.
Absolutely. Sure. And we do have videos of our rides. We've done each of those several times, and we do have videos of all of those train rides on those if you want to see kind of a preview of what that's like if you're trying to decide between the three.
Okay, another thing you're going to need to know is what to bring for this. If it's your first trip, you don't know what to bring. So what are some tips for what they should bring?
Well, what to bring is usually the hardest part. We learned this lesson the very first train ride that we had because we didn't have the right things with us on the train. So what I'm always tell people is you got your checked bag, check that, don't worry about it, don't think about it. Or if you want to keep it with you, you can always store it in the luggage rack, either in coach or in the sleeper car. Now, you'll have a carry-on bag likely with you where you store, a few things like for ladies' purses, computers, things like that. And then if you're in a sleeper car or even actually in coach, you want an overnight bag of where you're going to keep some things like a change of clothes, toiletries, if you want to brush your teeth, get yourself freshened up, some deodorant, things like that. You're going to want a little bit smaller bag, right, to have with you on the train. So we have a little bag and that we keep all of these things in, and it makes it easier for us, quick to access, and we don't have to think about it or try to go dig through our checked bag, our big bag that we've stored in the luggage rack or something to try to dig through it on the train with people walking by and stuff. Everything you can pull out real easily. Just make sure you have that bag with you.
Yeah, and then I like to have one backpack with me that is going to have everything valuable in it because you will be getting up, and if you're with someone even, you're going to want to go eat together, or maybe you want to go to the observation car together. You don't want to leave your computer, your phone at the seat. Have one backpack that you can put all your valuables in and just pick it up and walk away. And when you're gone, we just leave the food bag there. If someone wants to get a snack, they can have it.
Have at it.
But you don't want to
Free
leave your phone and stuff sitting there. So we take a backpack, and we get the question a lot: which backpack do you use? Which bags do you use? We have a list of everything that we travel with on the website, groundedlifetravel.com. And there's a link to every single thing we've bought.
Make it
on
super
there.
easy.
So if you want to just go look on there, you can find that on the website. And there is a bunch of stuff on there that we personally use right now, down to which cameras we use when we're
and
there.
how do we attach them to the windows? That's all on there. Everything is in that blog, and like we said, all the links to those items.
Exactly. So this has been our complete guide to beginner's guide to Amtrak. We hope this has been helpful for you. If you're just getting started on your Amtrak journey, planning out your trip, we have so many more videos on the channel. Almost every route and every type of sleeper car. Check those out, because seeing it is going to be better than reading about it and just check out and see what you're getting into.
As well as we do have articles about every single one of those. If you have a question, it's more than likely answered on our website. So head on over groundedlifetravel.com and just click that little search bar and type in whatever it is you're looking for, and it will pop right up for you and answer your questions. So your questions should be answered between our videos and the articles on the website. So this should clear the rest of those things up for you.
And we're going to be traveling this year quite a bit on Amtrak, so we hope to see you on there. If you see us, be sure to say hi. We like to meet people while we're traveling, so we hope to see you, and we hope you have an awesome trip.